Thank you for taking time out on such short notice. Yesterday, I think yesterday or day before, I reached out to you, and I was just like looking for people that I can sit down with and have a conversation about everything that's happening. And usually with social media creators, influencers, anytime something happens, there is this sort of an expectation for us to speak out. And rightly so, if you have a platform, you should use it. But when it comes to things like this, I don't know if I don't know if my opinion is educated enough to have a say on this. So I don't want to say something just for the sake of saying it. So I thought the best thing to do is speak to someone who's an expert, and that's you.
It's so nice of you, because I think it was yesterday only, and when you called up, I was just going to do CNN, and I said, can I get back to you later? And you're very right. The reason I left the government service, every day you must be seeing people say 8 lakhs, 10 lakhs taking the civil services. And then I smile and I say, oh my God, there's such a craze to join the civil services. And I left it 10 years back. Even today, I would have had still 2 years of service. So for me also, it's a passion, freedom of speech and expression. So you're very right that you may try to get the best of the people who have an authority. But end of the day, that approach or that thought itself is very enlightening. And I think that is why I jumped when you said I want to talk to you. And I mean, let me say, I watched your YouTube and what all you've done, and I found it very interesting. And I am in a serious job.
Yeah, this is the first time I'm actually doing something like this. Our podcasts are usually very light-hearted, like
I thought,
on comedy.
What am I going to speak there? Because whatever was there was very...
And it's usually done with my friends. So there's like 3-4 boys sitting and there's a guest and we just have fun. But now I felt like this is a responsibility. And before we go ahead, for people who may not know, can you talk about yourself? What do you do? Like a quick introduction.
My mother named me Abha, and Abha means radiance.
Right.
So, like she always felt like I was born in a state called Uttar Pradesh, which everybody thinks is quite laid back, crime, and women are still in parda. You think of UP, Bihar, so it is that. But true, so my mother was very particular that I should be well educated. And coming from UP, a traditional community like Rajputs, I went to JNU in the 80s. And I worked on human rights, child rights. So education-wise, I was a very bright student, and my mother was there. So it's something like women empowering women. So she instilled those values in me, that you must just not work for yourself, but since the state which you come from, see if you can do for the women. So then I took the civil services. I worked as a custom officer for some years. Then I went to the postal services. And but somehow I felt freedom of speech and expression is very important. As a government servant, you cannot express yourself, or you cannot say anything against the government or anything which you feel is not right. And at some phase of our life, my husband was in the CBI and he was wrongly transferred. So he fought his case in the court, and I, as a loyal wife, used to carry his books. And when I went to the court, Bombay High Court, and I realized this is the real temple of justice. If you want to do something for the people, it will come to the courts.
Right.
And at that stage, I studied law from Bombay University. I had 2 children who were 10 and 16, I think, around there. They were that age. Both the kids were there. And I joined evening classes. I did law. And finally, I quit from the government service so that I could don the robe of a lawyer and get justice for the marginalized communities, for the women who are silenced. So basically, as of today, I am a voice for the silenced women, and I try to call a spade a spade.
Right. So when did you finally become a lawyer?
This was 2012. I was Director Postal Services for Maharashtra and Goa. That was the time I put in my papers, and I started practicing in Bombay High Court. And I mean, you'll be surprised, the first case which came to me was Salman Khan hit and run.
Oh, wow.
So can you imagine my first case, and I'm going to Bandra Court, and suddenly I see his closest friend Baba Siddiqui with 200 people with placards saying, no, this is not done, we are for Salman. And I said, oh my God, where have I come?
Yeah.
But you'll be happy to know that in the session court, whatever it was, we managed to get a punishment of 5 years for him. But that is different, that by the time it came to High Court, because the police had not done its work right, they had not collected the forensics, they had not done their paperwork. So he went scot-free. Of course, we have gone in appeal to the Supreme Court. So I always say my first few cases were hit and run, AIB roast, environment related. So I've been a strong lawyer from 2012 itself.
Oh, that's quite a resume. Like, you think about it.
Yes.
Especially in our world, because we're within that same world with the entertainment. And a lot of times, sometimes we say things and we think, like, at some point, someone is going to get upset about one of the things that we say. And, like, I'm prepared for the day. Like, for my court date, I know it's going to come at some point. I don't know when. Hopefully it doesn't. But you just never know with these things. Like,
True. In fact, the case which now I am handling is this NRI couple, and Mr. Ketan Kakkad, if you will read about him, he is the neighbor of Salman Khan. Panvel farm, he has a common boundary, and he's not allowed to go there because some issues, and maybe he came to me saying that Salman doesn't want that I should be his neighbor. And so in that angst, that's what I told the court. I said it is a husband in his unhappiness because he bought that property for his wife, and he thought once they come back to India, they're going to make a house there. But till now, he's not been able to construct anything over there. So he was talking to a YouTuber from Australia. And in that, he said some words which I don't know, which is surprising because Salman Khan himself makes such statements. But Salman Khan has filed a defamation suit on this poor guy, who's 68 years old, and the case is going on for 3 years now at 65. And he says, no, he's called me a terrorist, he's called me this, he's called me that. So I was arguing his case in the court, and I told the judge, I said, Lordship, you have to see the frustration of a old man who's bought a piece of land for his wife. So if he said something, you have to see what it is. It's angst of a husband who is not able to see that his wife can go and live there. And how is Salman calling it defamatory? You have to have the mens rea, the intention. Even for a murder, you have to prove the mens rea, the intention, that why did you say that? So his intention was never to defame him. It is what he was talking. So yes, but that defamation case, I am arguing for him, and in the lower court, in the city civil court, Mr. Kakkad won the case against Salman Khan. So you must have a lawyer by your side. That is what I will tell you, that you should have. And a good lawyer.
After this episode only, now Salman will see it. He's going to file a case against me.
No. But stating facts is never defamation. So you be rest assured that at least in this, you will not be.
No. It's... If that day comes, I'll give you a call.
Yeah. Most welcome. And I will do it pro bono for you.
Thank you so much. Let's talk about what's happening. Let's talk about what's going on. So I'm sure most people are aware of the Kolkata case. Before we go ahead to talk about solutions and what needs to be done, let's talk about what actually happened for people who somehow don't know. What I know is there was a doctor who was working a 36-hour shift, which is...
A trainee doctor.
A trainee doctor who was working a 36-hour shift, which is crazy by itself. But I don't know enough about how hospitals work and how long are the shifts typically. And she was taking a break in a common hall. And that's where... who is this person who...
He's called a civic police volunteer, a person who's given the duties of a cop, not actual cop, but a volunteer who's assisting the cops. So this is a post which is not everywhere. In Maharashtra, you don't have a concept called civic police volunteer, but in West Bengal they have it, and he was getting a salary of, I'm told, 10,000 rupees from the government, but has no responsibilities, because if you're a cop, you have responsibilities in the sense you are bound by rules and regulations. So I think that was wrong on the part of...
Okay. So he's the person who, with no motivation, like it was just like a case that came out of nowhere.
He had a track record. If I go, yes, motivation in the sense, I think he was I would call him a serial rapist or a serial offender, because
so he has a past.
His past is like this, that I was reading the papers only, that this is his fourth marriage. His first 3 wives, he beat them hollow, he beat them blue, and they have told the press, and his mother-in-law said that he used to beat his wives badly. And so a person has a track record, and not only that, his mobile, which has been confiscated by the police, it has all pornography, very scary type of, so I think he had a criminal mind. And what is shocking is that when he was made a civic police volunteer, why his background check was not done? Because he was a civic police volunteer, he had the free access to the hospital, coming anytime, going anytime. He was posted in the police outpost at the hospital.
Right.
So when you get a certificate like that, so I think the cops who appointed him, they should have done the background check that he is a wife beater, he is an alcoholic. And I'm sure, because the manner in which he has committed this rape, I'm sure more rapes have happened in that building. And usually, as a lawyer, I've seen that women keep quiet because, number one, it's a stigma. Yeah. It's stigmatic, and also you don't get justice because the case goes on for years and years, and you are threatened. You are maybe women have kept quiet. So I want now the CBI not only to look into this rape, but ask people to come if things like this have happened before in that campus. That is very important.
So the reason that this case has become as big as it has is the nature of the crime. Yes. Right? Because rape, it happens. There are crazy statistics that every few seconds someone in India is getting raped. And rape as a crime has been around since people have existed. So I think it's amongst the 3 crimes that have been around forever, which is theft, murder, and rape.
Yes,
These are the 3 crimes that have always been there. And as optimistic as I want to be about the future, I don't think any of these 3 crimes will ever go away.
True.
I don't think it will ever stop.
Yes, we can reduce rapes from happening, but we cannot stop them, because if you see, a lot of rapes happen within the 4 walls of the house. In fact, NCRB figures say that 70 to 80% of rapes are done by people who know the victim. So that becomes very difficult for the police to reach every house but theft also. But I feel that law, the rule of law which we so proclaim about, law is not only, it has deterrence. The fear of law should be such that a person should be scared of committing a crime.
Right.
So I will not be the pessimist. I would say we can not make it 100% crime free, but such type of cases, they should be prevented. And how do we prevent it? That is what is very important.
Right.
Because I'll just share some facts with this, why this case is so important. Because this has happened in a government medical college. Had it happened on the road, in a deserted area, one could have said, okay, fine, there was nobody there. That girl was going in the dark. Like things what are talked about.
These are obviously things that you're not saying from a point of view that, okay, it's understandable if it happened then. It's still...
It's still. But why this carries more weight and so much outrage, and why people are protesting is because you think within the 4 walls of a government medical college, I will be safe.
Right.
It is your workplace. So when I come to work in your office, if I've come in this studio, I will expect that I will have safety.
Yeah.
And when it is government,
Yeah.
then the government security guards, your CCTV cameras, and this resident doctor was on duty. So even for cops who are on duty, if you stop them from doing their duty or you misbehave with them, there are laws that can put you behind bars.
Yeah.
So here he was a resident doctor who was on duty.
And that to a doctor, like
Yes.
a doctor, you
and
think,
and in a workplace, we have something called Vishaka guidelines. We have the sexual harassment at workplace law, which says if you have women working, you have to, there are certain things which have to be fulfilled,
Yeah.
like a restroom, washroom, safe areas, because Supreme Court has time and again said right to life means right to work also in a safe atmosphere.
yeah.
So it violates your fundamental right. And I think this is what is very important and why people are enraged, that it has happened in a government hospital. It has happened to a resident doctor who was on duty and who had just settled down to take a short nap, and you could not even provide her a restroom. And it has been perpetrated by a criminal or a person, I would say, who had the certificate of the Kolkata police that he
Yeah.
is a civic police volunteer. He was on the committee of the police welfare board, going and attending these meetings. So see the dichotomy. So that is why people are thinking that a police, which is their duty to give safety security, are engaging such people. Suppose you engage a rapist as a watchman.
Yeah.
Who will be held responsible? The society that has
Yeah.
engaged him. So these are the things. And also why people are enraged is that the principal of the college, when he stepped down, because number one, you have not provided security to the girls in the campus.
Yeah.
You have not provided them restrooms. If this girl was sleeping in a women restroom, she would have been safe. Why did she have to go and sleep in a seminar room, which would be huge, dark, deserted? It was on the second floor.
Yeah.
Even if she had made noises or shouted, nobody would have heard it.
Yeah.
So it is the system which is responsible for her rape and death by not providing her safe places, which time and again the courts have said, the law says that if you are having women in your complex, in your institution, you have to give them drops. In the night, there is a provision that you have to pick and drop. You have to give. So it's the system which is responsible, and the anger is much obvious. And then the principal, not only he steps down because of the outrage, he is immediately given charge within 12 hours, 10 hours of another hospital. So it shows the apathy of the administration. It shows the callousness of the government, that a person who has been there for 3 years has not provided restrooms, has not provided security guards, has not provided for the welfare of the resident doctors. You are awarding him by giving him principalship of another college.
Yeah.
And that was what was expressed by the Calcutta High Court. So all this together is responsible that all the hospitals pan-India are closed. Patients are waiting for 4 days to get medical support. But of course, the emergency is working. But if you see, it's the common man only who's suffering.
Suffering, yeah. With that patient who's in the hospital, they've probably never done anything
Yes,
to deserve not being treated.
true.
They're just trying to get, like, I'm sure they're suffering and they need to be taken care of. And now, while at the same time I understand why there would be a strike, because
The government doesn't listen without that.
yeah.
You know, during COVID, they got an ordinance. What had happened? People were dying. There was no oxygen. There were all those problems. And cylinders were short. Medicines were short. So at that time, the government got an ordinance because the relatives, whoever died, their relatives would come and beat up the doctors.
Yeah.
So at that time, they got an ordinance. An ordinance, the ordinance, life of an ordinance is only 6 months. After that, it dies down on its own. Doctors time and again have been demanding a central law which makes them protected, in the sense, just because a death happens or something happens in a hospital, the patient's relatives and cannot come and beat me up. So any government for the last so many years, nobody has found time to get that law to protect doctors at their workplace. See, so there are two safeties. One, what the anger is that the rape and murder of this trainee doctor. But what is also being demanded by the Resident Doctors Association is
protection.
protection. One is safety, one is protection. So till now, these politicians have not had the time to make that law. Yesterday only, after all this enrage, they have said that if any doctor is beaten up or anything he faces, within 6 hours, the police will have to lodge an FIR. But does it make the doctor safe? No. You are saying lodging of an FIR, but why can't you make a law?
How difficult is it to get something like that done? Not just passing the law, obviously that's how it makes it official, but for hospitals to employ security guards, or if you go to a nightclub, there's like 7 to 10 bouncers. Is it difficult to get people to get bouncers, let's say, at a hospital? Because I'm sure if you have enough bouncers in a hospital, normal people with average build can't fight them.
True.
This is what I'm thinking from a very common sense perspective.
Exactly. See, where there is a will, there is a way. What happens is that these government hospitals, like the principal has a fixed job. Once you've joined the government, you are there for next 30-35 years. Nobody's going to touch your position. Politicians will only provide for things which interest them, like vote bank politics. But the common man, the taxpayer, he is never a vote bank. He or she is never a vote bank. Government needs are not looked into by these people in power. So if watchmen means you need funds, they will crunch you where funds are concerned. Or you have to, for them to engage watchmen, first is the provision of funds, and also if you want to recruit class 4 staff for security, you need to have those vacancies. So the vacancies and all, that's why I said, where is the IS officer, the medical secretary? Medical secretary is the one who would be looking after all the medical colleges in the state of West Bengal. Now, if you are talking of Kolkata. So, why was this? I am sure file would have been moved. I have worked in the government. I know that if my post office, I know there is a lot of cash in the post office. People come and deposit. I will say I need a security guard. I will make a proposal, send it to my higher up, and it will be sanctioned that yes, 2 security guards should be there. So, issue is why, if the proposal was sent from the medical college to the department, that is the health minister. Who heads it? The health minister. Approval will have to come from the health minister. And we are keeping quiet. We have not tasked the health minister of Karnataka till now. Nobody has called him and said, why were there no security guards over there? Why there were not CCTV cameras?
You mean West Bengal, I think you said Karnataka.
No, I said Kolkata.
You said Karnataka.
Achha, I said Karnataka. Oh,
I thought we're talking about... No, it's fine. I just thought you were talking about something.
No. So, Kolkata, we are talking about West Bengal. So, if there are no security guards, that's why the anger is with the principal, that you've been there for so many years, or you're heading the medical college, but there was shortage of... if you are having women staff working in the night, abroad they have that. Because somewhere the campuses are huge. In the night, these resident doctors or lady doctors have to go from one campus to another, one department to another. So they have women guards, male guards to escort them.
Right.
But in India, there is no such provision. And that is why they are beaten up also, because they don't have bouncers, as you said. Yeah. So a country which can give more than lakhs of crores for subsidy, for free food. Today I was just reading in Maharashtra, 2.5 crore women are going to get 1,500 rupees per month, because elections are around the corner and you've not provided them jobs. So these reveries which you call, the freebies which you call, the government has money to give for these things, because they are going to give them vote and they will come back to power. But the middle class or the professional class is not a vote bank. So nobody is bothered about them. So I hold the politicians responsible. And now it is these politicians who are coming and doing dharnas, morchas, rasta roko, because they want to be seen. That, oh, we are standing with
PR.
you. Yeah, it's PR. But why did you not provide these things in the hospital? That is the question.
So from what you're telling me, it's that there is a lack of infrastructure. There is everything takes too long. Like if I decide, if I'm the principal of a medical college, and if I decide I need these things in my college or in my campus, I will have to go through several layers before it finally happens, and it may not happen also.
It may not happen.
And this is a pattern which is not just with medical colleges. Anything that I think it's an India problem, you would
Yes.
say, that things take too long, which will bring me to the next point. After the crime has been committed and when it goes to court, it will take anywhere between 10 years,
Yes.
5 to 10 years.
Nirbhaya case, the rapists they were finally hanged after 11 years.
Yeah.
And you said India problem. If you see a very small thing, you must be reading on and off all the time that train was going and there was no railway crossing. There was no crossing, and bus or a truck just banged into a train and people died. So here is a country which doesn't have crossings, where you don't have barricades to stop the passenger vehicles from going. Now only after all the awareness, and I'm grateful to the social media, because a lot of newspapers, they will not write it because they get the DAVP grants, they get the advertisements from the government. But it is the common man who's now actually running the thing and exposing the government that, look, this has happened because of your folly. So many train accidents are happening. So many things like that. So yes, you will not get security. You will not get so many things because the government is not interested. Proposals are sent, but they are rejected. And even to employ, even stationery in a government office, if you want to buy stationery, it will come through the proper way. So definitely this hospital was running on short staff. Why should I talk about that? Why did she have to work 32 hours?
Yeah.
That's a big question. Where are there no labor norms? Are there not 8-hour shift?
Yeah.
So that itself was wrong. Had she been abroad, it would have not happened. But in India, it's like that. You see the cops also. They don't go home for 24 hours, 36 hours. So we don't have, chalta hai attitude.
Yeah.
But I don't hold only the government responsible. I hold you and I also responsible, because we feel we resign to this type of system. If we start questioning them, we start saying no. But we don't.
Yeah, I mean, now if you're talking about people like you and me, either we were born into privilege or we've made privilege for ourselves. And I go on with my life very conveniently. Most times I'm comfortable, unless I have to go to a government office to get something done. Even with that, most times you'll find someone you pay a very small amount to and they get your work done without you even having to show up. So we usually don't have to deal with that. We don't face it on a day-to-day. So it's not something that I will be going and fighting for. Now when something like this happens, that it's hard to take. Like for someone like me, I'm sitting here. I know everyone around me is scared. The women in my life, whether it's my mother, whether it's my friends, a girlfriend, they're always scared. Now they're more scared, but on a day-to-day also, they're constantly living in fear. There's nothing there's not much I can do about it.
I'll tell you, my daughter is a cop. Yet I live in fear.
Yeah.
That if she's going for late night raids and all, things like that she's a woman after all.
Yeah.
So you are always scared. So, and I think the biggest freedom would be freedom from getting scared like this, like palpitation, that if she's not reached home on time, in fact, even till now, I tell her that if you're taking a cab late in the night, flight you're catching, give me the number and I will be awake tracking it that she's reached home safely. So that is not a healthy trend.
Last night at around 2, one of my friends calls me and she's like, I'm sitting in a cab and it's my drop is like 20 minutes away. I want to be on the phone with someone.
See.
Why is that happening?
Exactly. My daughter had gone to Mayo Girls. She was reunion. She studied in Mayo Girls, Ajmer. And she was coming from Ajmer and she had to come to Jaipur to take a flight. She left at 4 because the flight was at 8, 9. From 4 a.m. in the morning, I was wide awake, that was my stress level. What if this happens? What if the cabwala is like this? Why are we under this cloud of fear all the time? Why can't we provide safety? And here we'll go to European countries, we feel very safe. So I don't think that is something which our government cannot provide. But as a lawyer, I have felt that the reason why it is the VIP culture of this country. People do crime and get away with it. Rape, if you see the figures, in 100 rapes, only 28 rapists get convicted. I mean, they would be punished.
That too after like 10 years.
That too after 10 years. So if the NCRB, the data that collects the data, that if 28%, 29% is the conviction rate in rape cases, so a person knows.
Yeah, like your odds as a rapist in this country are very good.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is a very crazy statement to say. But if you were to do it, India is the best place to do it.
And you will get away because not only will it take so many years, also so many witnesses turn hostile because we don't have something called witness protection in this country.
Right.
And I was reading a case where this victim, even the victim who had come to one of the courts to depose, she was killed outside the court.
Yeah.
Asaram's case, if you see, so many witnesses who were supposed to give, they were killed somewhere or the other. That is why they were not given bail. So anybody who's a VIP, people sitting in jails are getting crimes committed. That means you are given mobiles in the jail itself.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's why people do, even if you've seen a crime happening, people don't want to come and depose in the court because they know we will be bullied and harassed. So the system has failed us. So this outrage which is happening, Nirbhaya also we had something like this. I mean, what people came on the roads and everything. But after that, people are saying that was Nirbhaya 1, this is Nirbhaya 2. I said there'll be Nirbhaya 3, there'll be Nirbhaya 4 also.
Yeah.
Because till the time you attack the root cause, and root cause will be not one, it has to be multi-layered, which is making your road safe. I mean, if this hospital was there, why they didn't have internal lockings? Why didn't have CCTV cameras in certain areas? I think purposely people don't put so that they are not monitored. You know, when that attendance thing came, that you have to punch at 9:30, I was told that so many times the employees would put lot of oil in their hands and do it so that the machine gets out of order and they will not have to punch in. You know, so if that is the mindset, how will you let progress come to you?
Yeah.
So to make women safe, not only is 100% conviction required, that if it's a crime, it's a murder, it's a rape. Murder, the conviction rate is 48%, 45%. There also half the murderers go scot-free.
Still pretty good chances. Yeah.
You know, still good chances that you can do a murder and get away.
Yeah.
Arushi murder case, we don't know what had actually happened because you said that at that time they tampered with the evidence. Salman Khan's hit and run case, I will again come back to it. Nobody has been punished, although one pavement dweller died on the spot and one lost his limbs because the police did not make the case foolproof, or they did not collect the evidences, or they did not present the evidences at the time of trial. So the message is very clear that if I get the best set of lawyers, I will be out very soon. Or if I'm in jail, I can bribe the jail staff and I will be given liquor in the jail. I will get my mobile in the jail. I will get all the benefits.
Yeah.
So, you know, that is the reason. So that till the time it's 100% honesty, I always say the biggest killer is corruption. If you can give money for everything, then a criminal will also pay everywhere and go on with the crime. So till the time we are able to make this corruption zero-free society, a transparent society, accountable society, not a single woman or a girl child will be safe in this country.
Yeah. I mean, you said now this what you spoke about is about the VIP culture, and when you're talking about bribery and corruption, that comes from a place where a person is capable of, financially capable of bribing, or even corruption begins with funds. You need money to do it. And a lot of the times these cases, it's people who don't have the funds. They're just like people from lower classes of society doing crimes like this.
Yes.
And with that, is it a case of that these people are coming from a place where they have nothing to lose? So for them to sit in jail for 10 years is not that bad. You get meals 3 times a day. You could even say it's better than what you had outside as a free man.
True.
So you go on committing crimes knowing that you have nothing to lose. For you to get convicted, it's going to take a bunch of time and you may not even get convicted.
True.
So like, if you were to find the root of the problem, I don't think there is like a single root. It's just all of these complex issues, which again go back to the country being at a place where it's not capable of running it in an efficient way for so many people who live in this country.
But why? Yes. But why are we running it in such a bad way?
It is being run in not the best way, but I think it's an impossible task to, with the current, like the country is what, 70 years old, 70 odd years
77,
old. We keep talking about the government, we keep talking about authorities. I think it's an impossible task to manage this country and run this country in a way that you're preventing all of this amongst so many other things that are happening. Like what? And if you're looking at a blueprint, the only comparison that we have is China, because they have similar population, but the way they do it is, it's almost a dictatorship.
Yes.
So you want to have a free country which is like less than half the size of China, with all these people. You're recovering from being run by the British for 200 years, being looted. Where do you go? Like, do you see in our lifetime an India which is capable of running itself? Like, because I'm hearing all this and it's bleak, like it's hopeless. I don't think I will see India flourish. It will be better than what it is today, but I don't think we'll ever, like, there's this almost sense of delusion that we think India is going to be one of the most developed countries. It's going to be a superpower, this and that. Economically, maybe, yes, we'll get there, but all these...
No, even not economically, because it's just limited 5 or 10% of people who have major 40% of the country's resources. The number of poor is increasing.
Yeah.
You see, we are giving free food, we are giving free electricity, free water. Things like that is only being done. I feel we are at this stage because of the politicians of this country. Earlier, you had politicians who had criminal track records. Only that type of people reached the parliament. It was only after Supreme Court came with certain guidelines and said, no, if you are convicted of murder, rape, then you cannot contest elections. Even today, there is no law which says that if Kejriwal is in jail, he will step down. If you see that a chief minister is in jail, but he continues to be chief minister because there is no law. So politicians are the lawmakers. So they will make a law which suits them.
Yeah.
It is you and I who need to ask that when we are going out to vote, what type of people we want sitting there and making the law for us.
But the type of people that we want sitting up there, they don't want to become politicians.
No, because a lot of people ask me, they said, oh, why don't you contest? I said, where is that kind of money? I need to contest elections. Can I distribute freebies? Can I, contesting elections? Why only the rich people are there? Poor people are only, but then I always say I don't have sympathy. I said if for 2,000 rupees or for freebies, like South you read they are distributing pressure cookers, they are giving television. If for a television you are voting for a particular person who is not reliable or credible, that means you are digging your own grave. So, ultimately you need good people to make your laws. You need courts. I go every day. Cases take years. One case last week I was following and twice it came on board. One day it was 130 number and one day it was 83. The board never reached. By 60, 65, can you think a judge in that time frame can hear more than 60 cases? He will not do justice also if you want him to run through that. Yeah. Then why are you even listing a case at that number?
Yeah.
So, judiciary also requires reforms in the true sense. Like Nirbhaya happened and hundreds of crores was given for Nirbhaya fund, that you will have one solution centers where women can go, they can be counseled, or like in this you see compensation they give to the rape victims. Half the states have surrendered that money. So even when funds are provided, they are surrendered. Where you want something, there are no funds. So I think the system It needs a revamping. You need to make people accountable. If a person has not sanctioned the funds, it should automatically, minimum interaction with male people, mankind should be there. If you have people selling tickets, they will blackmail. But if you have a punching machine, it can't blackmail.
Yeah.
So I feel that passports, earlier passport person, like verification and all, how much money is charged for that? Everything. But the where you are mechanizing it, corruption reduces.
Yeah.
So I feel that is what is required, because nothing is going to change. Coming to FIR, so many women, they go to the police station. They are scared. Number one, women are scared to go to the police station to register a crime. When they go, they don't get that kind of support. And if it's a sexual offense, bizarre questions are asked. Then other side, if he's powerful, he would get the local politician to call up, as we saw in the Pune Porsche accident, that the MLA himself reached the police station, because I'm sure that builder was giving funds to the politician in his election. So, that combination. Mumbai, you see so many buildings coming up, trees being cut with impunity. So what is happening? It's the BMC. I was handling this case of widows of manual scavengers. So I did an RTI. You also must be reading the 3 workers died when they went down to clean the septic tank. At least this year, from Jan, Feb, March, I read around 10 people died.
What is a manual scavenger?
Manual scavenger is a person, and it is banned. Supreme Court has banned this practice, that when these septic tanks, which you have your septic tanks and the sewers, they have to be cleaned. So these are the small manholes where people have to go down.
Yeah.
And they have to virtually clean your shit.
Yeah.
So Supreme Court has said that it is banned. It should be done by a machine. But even today, it is done by human beings. These workers who are there, and they are called the manual scavengers. And we have a law which says, Supreme Court has said clearly that they should not do it. So one day I read the newspaper, and I said, these people in Moria Housing Society in Chembur, they went down to clean, and one after the other, all 3 died. So I told my daughter, she was practicing with me, I said, and you know what the newspaper said? That one worker's wife had a child who was 3 weeks old.
Yeah.
And immediately I connected. I said, can you imagine a young lady, migrant worker, she was from Kolkata, which is ironical, that 3-week child, and somebody comes and tell you your husband has died. So we found the addresses, because from the police station the FIR was done, and we went and visited them. And I asked her. She said, my husband wanted to do a lunch, a dinner for his friends, because लड़का हुआ है, तो 40 days पे हमारे यहाँ function होता है, तो he told his friends कि मैं अब थोड़ा extra काम करेगा और मैं पैसा कमा के सबको मटन खिलाएगा. She said for that 1,000 rupees, otherwise he was not going to do that, but 1,000 rupees के लिए he went to clean that septic tank. तो they said, मैडम आपको लगता है हम कोर्ट में आके केस करेगा, हमारे पास खाने के लिए पैसा नहीं है, मेरा husband चला गया for 1,000 rupees. So I said, no, I will fight your case free. I will take you to the High Court. So I had done an RTI to the BMC that how many manual scavengers, these septic tank cleaners have died in the last couple of years. And you know what reply I got from the BMC? They said, no manual scavenger, no cleaner has died till now. I was shocked. I said, I get an RTI reply saying no death has happened. I am reading in the paper that they are there. I went and met the widows and I requested them, please come to the court. So when the case came up, I showed that RTI to the Honorable High Court bench. I said, Lordship, this is what BMC has said, that no deaths have taken place. I said, but I have these 3 widows. So are they ghosts? Or we have already forgotten them? And you will not believe the court took it so seriously in 2 hearings. Maharashtra for the last 30 years had not given even 1 rupee compensation to any widow or family because they say no deaths take place. So when we asked them, when the BMC officers came, they said we outsource it. We don't clean it ourselves, we don't engage them, it is contractors who do it. I told Lordship, I said, Lordship, how can they outsource death? This is something like outsourcing death. BMC has a budget of 57,000 crores. I said, can't they get machines to clean it? And it is the collector's duty. The IS officer who sits there, Supreme Court has said, it is his duty to see that no person goes down in the manholes to clean the septic tank without oxygen. They say the machine has to do it, but in the worst of the case, if a human human has to go, it has to have an oxygen cylinder, mask, it has to have all that safety gears. And here we have these poor people who without any safety gear, without anything. So, the moment you go down, it is methane, which is in 5 minutes you die. So when you know that it is death, why do people go down? So court immediately said, I'm going to pass strictures. In the High Court, that collector who was not listening to us came with the check to the High Court and gave all these 3 widows 10 lakh each. 10 lakh may not get the person who died, but at least it makes their life a little easy. And last year, the Supreme Court has given an order saying that compensation is increased from 10 lakhs to 30 lakhs. So again, I got those widows back to court, and now the matter is again in the High Court. So I'm saying laws are there. But in spite of a law being there that it is banned, every day it is happening. Then the law says give them compensation. Maharashtra, Mumbai being the commercial capital of the country, you have literate people here, yet no widow had got compensation. So what I'm saying, system is there. But the system is not put to use. The laws are there. The laws are not put to use because number one is the public apathy. You and I keep quiet. If we read a newspaper, we say, oh, poor guy. But we don't know what happens after that. And the system, the BMC which was not given the compensation, if that BMC officer was to lose his job, he would have done it. But because his job is secure, he's not bothered. So I think it requires deep thinking, reworking the whole thing, and public apathy has to go. Because if there was no restroom in RG Kar Medical College for women, why did the women not protest? I always tell people, I say, I call myself, as you asked me what's my introduction, I say I'm the voice for the silenced women, for the silenced girls of this country. I mean, you should have taken to task the authorities that you want me to work for 32 hours and then you don't give me a room even to lie down. Am I worse than your pet dog? For pets, people have now all the treatments I see, they go to parlors, they go there. And for human beings, we can't make provision. So I always say, ask. Don't let anything wrong happen. So if there was a restroom, I'm sure this little girl could have gone to the restroom, slept there. There would have been other women also there. But this poor girl, this conscientious trainee resident doctor, 32 hours after that, she doesn't get anywhere. She goes to the second floor, deserted, because her department was on the second floor. She goes and lie down. And this volunteer, this police volunteer, he had drunk and he finds a lone girl sleeping. He pounces on her. And records say he was a boxer. So that means he had more strength than this poor girl. And he beat her up, he raped her, her thyroid cartilage broken, her glasses, they went into her eyes, they were so, and if there was somebody on that floor, if there was a security guard, he would have come to help. But I'm sure those posts were vacant. Or lot of people do empty posts, they take money but they don't put people. This is corruption. So this principal, rather than being given principalship of another college, he should have been suspended. That why is a resident doctor sleeping in a seminar room? Why is there not a restroom for women residents? So, till the time that accountability comes. But he has godfathers in the system. And I hold these corrupt bureaucrats responsible for all this. I hold the corrupt government servants responsible for this. I hold the corrupt politicians responsible for this. So even this protest which is happening, they should not let these politicians come and do Congress, BJP, TMC. Ultimately, it is hijacked by the politicians.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter which party is in power. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
This is a bigger problem. It's bigger than politics, and it's a human problem. It's a human issue that this country has. You spoke about the manual scavengers and the RTI, where they said no people have died. that's the irony, that these people don't exist for them. Like you said, they're ghosts.
There goes.
It doesn't matter where they live, they die. 100 of them may die. Like you see that all the time in some places, like in Delhi. The weather gets too cold and people freeze to death.
Shelter homes, have you seen? Last time when I went and visited some of these shelter homes where these pavement dwellers and people who don't have a roof sleep. It is pathetic. In a small room like this, you'll have 200 people lying.
Yeah.
So they will get skin diseases. In fact, the manual scavengers, that's why they drink alcohol. They say it stinks, it is so dirty that to go down that manhole to clean your shit, they say we drink and go. Or we come out and drink because it lingers. Yeah. And even in these shelter homes, as you rightly said, it's so cold. When they come to sleep there, they are sexually assaulted. They get skin disease. They live worse than animals. But no government will talk of population control because once upon a time, one party talked of it and they lost elections. So I would say that is the biggest thing which the country needs to do is control its population. Because your important resources are being finished. Your trees are being cut. Your water is being contaminated. So ultimately, it's population which needs to be controlled. Secondly is politicians. Corruption, how many people are caught? No one. Because the person who's supposed to catch is also corrupt.
But at this point, I think that I obviously don't want to generalize, but there's just so many of these cases that you see that at this point, if I was someone who had political ambitions, I would go become a politician because I know this corruption exists and this is going to make me a millionaire.
Yes. True. Very true.
That's the reason why I would go and do it, because I'm looking at the country. I'm like, there is no change. Like, even if I have the most noble intentions, 2 years in politics, you realize kuch nahi hone wala hai yahan pe. So I will make money for my next 3 generations and I will retire. And all their kids are studying.
Cayman Island में पैसा रख दूंगा, हवाला से भेज दूंगा.
Kids are studying abroad, better quality of life. They move their families there. It's a career path which will set you up and your future generations. Like, it's a no-brainer, right?
Yeah, of course.
And you get
आप
power.
वो बन जाओ या फिर आप BMC के एम्प्लॉय बन जाओ. आप बिल्डर्स को 10 मंजिल की जगह 25 मंजिल की बिल्डिंग अलाउ कर दो.
As a human being, what do you need? You need money and you need power, these are the two most common driving factors for people to do anything, and politics and this, it gives you that. So yes. I see why you would go and chase it.
Politics and babus. You call them babus, ना? तो जो सरकारी तंत्र है.
Yeah.
सरकार एंड सरकारी तंत्र. तो सरकार हो गए नेता और सरकारी तंत्र हो गए ये सरकारी अफसर.
Yeah.
सरकार और सरकारी तंत्र is destroying the country.
Yeah. Again, I don't want to generalize. I'm sure within all of these sectors, whether it's politicians, whether it's policemen, higher authorities, there are good people in there. Like
10%.
I don't...
10%. It's on 10% the system is running. It's on 10% who are honest. Because you feel if you're honest, nobody will give you a good posting.
Yeah.
See, like, I am not a pessimist at all. That was one of the reasons I came to law. Because I felt, temple of justice. Because as I said, my husband was fighting his case. He was in the CBI and they transferred him out. That's the best way. If you're honest and principled, they'll kick you out. And he won from the Supreme Court. After that, we both decided to do law.
Yeah.
We said the power comes from knowing the law, from fighting the system. And it does. So, so courts, I have great hopes from the court. That if the judiciary is honest, if the judiciary has a spine. Today, Kolkata, the case has gone from Kolkata police to CBI because of Kolkata High Court.
Yeah.
The judiciary has really come down heavily. So I have faith in the judiciary of this country. And so if I have faith in the judiciary, then I should have faith in the other institutions also. So,
but as honest as the judiciary is, and as much as they're trying to do their best to make a difference, again comes back to the infrastructure, and if the case is not reaching the judiciary only, how are they supposed to give justice?
Even in that justice, courts will only give judgment on what evidence is put by the police.
Yeah.
So if the evidence is already tampered, if your forensics are not collected properly, they can't give you justice. But also, when the whole system is corrupt, the society, you say, so there will be corrupt elements in judiciary also.
Yeah.
Everyone's coming from the same society.
Yeah.
So the moral ethics, I would say, that needs to be worked upon.
Yeah.
We don't talk about it. There I will hold even social media responsible. The country is only looking into what Bollywood is doing, what cricket is doing, what corporates are doing. But nobody wants to even hear or listen to the life of someone, a good teacher who's doing a good job, or a good doctor who's treated people free. There'll be no TRP.
It's not fun enough.
It's not fun enough. You said it's not fun enough.
A crazy wedding with like all the superstars from everywhere.
Dancing,
that's a lot of fun to watch. Like you can't deny that. Or Bollywood or cricket, whatever it is. It's entertainment and it's entertaining, and as a society you need entertainment. Like I don't want to go and say, oh, I hate how people are obsessed with cricket. It's a sport, they enjoy it, and our lives are stressful and you need something to. But then at the same time, if you have ambitions of becoming a superpower, if you want your country to grow, these are things that you have to think about. You look at the press, you expect them to come and give you news or give you information. Why do I have to do this right now with you? I'm a comedy content creator.
Exactly.
But I was
wondering why you've called me, because your genre is very different.
Because the news doesn't want to do what they have to do. And I know there are... I told you my audience is young. And I felt like if I have this platform, I need to be responsible and do my best. But this shouldn't be my job.
But I'm happy. In fact, I saw your audience is 16 to 30. You'd written all the young people. I also get a lot of law interns, students who are in the college who come and train with me to be lawyers. And I tell them, see, you are the best persons who can change the system. You are tech savvy. You are inquisitive. You are bold. You say why. You can ask questions. So if a tree is being cut, take a picture, upload it. Because there's a tree authority. Yeah. Without that permission, no tree can be cut. Yeah. So if you see a tree missing, put it up.
Yeah.
I'm sure with so much of social awareness, you can make a change. Potholes. If there are so many potholes, put an RTI. Was this road repaired? When was it repaired?
Yeah.
So, the youth can actually make the change.
Yeah.
See, like I asked, how many deaths have taken place? So I expect the change from them, and that is why at any time I have 3-4 young students who are training with me, because I try to tell them, I said potholes, Mumbai potholes, it's your responsibility to see that if 1,000 crores has been spent last year on this patch, why it is there again?
Yeah.
Petition, ask, question, make them accountable. Tree cutting. If RGs, I'll tell you what is happening in Mumbai, because so many gardens are being taken up by builders. In the sense, it's an open area. 25% of that open area, the BMC will give them permission to make some building. So I have got 2-3 scams like this, where the RGs, the recreation grounds, have been swallowed up by builders, and I have put the case in the High Court. Like even the fire, because Mumbai does not have a fire safety roadmap for the last 10 years. Politicians have not had the time to make it, and that is why Bombay High Court Chief Justice ordered, and now we are trying to get new roadmap for how fire should be curtailed in Mumbai, because if these tall buildings are coming up, do we have the resources to control those things? So it is these young people who are actually the eyes and ears for me. I send them to areas and say, look, if this is happening there, any problem, you get back to me. So I think one of the reasons I came was this, that I will be talking to the young people, and you are the biggest influencers who can really bring a change in the system.
So when it comes to social media now, if I open my Instagram right now and I show you the stories, they're all usually the same stories that go around, and people are talking about this is what happened. And there'll be articles posted, people will share like Faye D'Souza's videos. Does that help at all? I get it that it raises awareness, but when it comes to like on ground change, does it have an effect or?
It does. See, at least I can say from my part, manual scavengers, I told you they got the compensation. I had filed a PIL for ramps in the city, disability right, accessibility. And I was arguing it. And I told the court that there is the DCR, the Development Control Regulations, which say OC, occupation certificate, should not be given till the time these public places, buildings have provided ramps. The Chief Justice caught on that law point. And he called the BMC and he said, we had given a list of 30 places where we had visited, and there's a co-petitioner with me, she had visited. So your Tamasha restaurant, I'm sure all the some of your listeners would have visited that in Kamla Mill. That had stairs to go in. Your NGMC, that National Art Gallery, it didn't have a ramp. So after this PIL, Tamasha made a ramp. That National Gallery for Modern Art, it made a ramp. Certain cinema halls, they made a ramp, because then the High Court called the BMC people and they said, you go to these places and give me a certificate they have or they don't have. So it does matter. Like this fire PIL.
What does PIL stand for?
This is a public interest litigation. Okay. So if there is a public cause for which you feel like if your garden is being taken up by BMC or your potholes are there, for the public cause, you can come to the High Court and file a case. So that is called public interest litigation. And in that, the courts come down heavily. Like Wednesdays is usually the public interest litigation day. And some of the cases which I have filed, I have got justice through them. It does make an impact, because the ramps have come up. The widows have got compensation. The fire safety guidelines, I just met the BMC people, and the new guidelines, a committee was set up of retired IS officers who have made these guidelines. See, what does the National Building Code say? It says if a tower is there should be adequate area around the building so that a fire engine can go. You have to encircle the building to do it. But now the new rule is the BMC is not leaving that much area.
So in case of fire, the fire truck
the fire engine will not have space to enter the building. So, it does. So when we make a buzz about it and it comes on your channel, your podcast, or Faye D'Souza is talking about it, or other anchors are talking about it, or Times of India is writing about it, the judges also read. They also know that this is an anomaly. So many times there have been suo motu. Like a judge has read something wrong and they come and they say, make this a case and call for explanation from the concerned agency. So it does make a difference. And I think that is why I'm sitting with you here. Because women's safety is something we need to really work on it. That if sexual harassment at workplace says that women are working, then you provide them safe areas, then provide them safe areas. Na? Why are you only booking profits if you're the corporate? Or if you're the government, you have enough money which is being surrendered every year. Because somebody is lazy enough not to work on that. Now they were saying now the next room in that hospital was being made into a room. But why so many years? So, public awareness and public involvement actually makes these people do their jobs better. So it is important.
One of the issues that I have with this is that I'm seeing these stories. I'm seeing the posts. I'm seeing everything on social media. I don't know if it's going to everyone. Like people around me are seeing it. Is it going to tier 3, tier 2 cities with I have a house help. He's on his phone all the time watching YouTube, watching reels. He's watching his Bhojpuri movies and whatever is it that they like. Are they also getting posts like this? Because if you're talking about education, that's where it starts.
Yes.
Because when it comes to sexual harassment or rape, one of the things that they keep bringing up is education. I don't remember being taught about this. My parents also never brought this up. I know it's wrong. It's just something that I've known. I don't know how I know this, but I know this. And most people around me from this socio-economic class, they know that rape is wrong. And I don't want to say that it will they will never do it, but the likeliness of it happening, at least the people around me, my friends, I can confidently say that they will never do it.
There's something called date rape.
Yeah.
Where these girls in their drinks, people have put
For sure. I'm not saying that it will never happen, but I'm saying
but
at
if
least they're
you see,
aware.
I want to remember Mumbai, if you are Mumbai specific, Shakti Mills gang rape. See, they were all school dropouts.
Right.
And this girl was a journalist who'd gone with her. She was from the media only. She'd gone with a photographer to take pictures and shoot something there. And she was gang raped in the heart of Mumbai.
Yeah.
So they were school dropouts. They were drug addicts.
Yeah.
So as I said, that this is not a standalone problem.
It's a human problem.
It's a human problem. And if you see, India on Human Development Index is way down. We are somewhere with Kenya, African countries, you know how it is. So
well, it's not India specific, because if you're looking at the most developed countries in the world,
they also have crime. Even US has rape cases. And in fact, they say the crime against women is higher in US and all. But I would say
here there's more people, so it's just based on numbers. It's more.
Yes, that is true. But still, I feel the roads are safe abroad. Mostly roads are safe because there are CCTV cameras.
Yeah.
The response time of the police is very fast, you know.
Right.
And because I have travelled all over, I feel scared in Delhi. I feel scared late night, you know, like.
I feel scared as a guy too.
You feel scared, yes.
Either it is unsafe, or from what I've been told, that fear is there. So
I have the most. I have the most.
Like maybe something won't ever happen to me, but I'm scared because I've just heard of all these things.
No, I remember I was with my husband and we'd gone to Hyderabad and he took me walking late night around 11:30. Suddenly we ended on a deserted road. I started panicking.
Yeah.
I said, why have you got me on this road? You won't be able to help me if some 3 drunkens come.
Yeah.
So the drugs is another issue. Drug addicts, you know, that's the problem which India is facing is drugs. They need money. They are desperate. So they will steal, they will kill, they will rape.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's the problem.
Yeah.
It can happen anywhere, anytime, but the deserted roads, the deserted corners. So that's why I advised to all the girls. I had said, don't go alone. Be 2 of you so someone can make a noise if it is happening. This again, I said, deserted, second floor, dark, dingy places. So, you know, certain SOPs should be taught to all our girls. Now, a lot of crime is happening on the cyber. Unknown people are befriending these young girls and calling them. And these girls are going out to meet and it's a racket. They are taking their pictures in inappropriate manner, raping them, making videos. There are rape videos.
Yeah.
I was doing some television channel and this was a couple of years back. Agra, they were selling rape CDs for 50 to 100 rupees. Because some people wanted to see that type of CDs. So can you see what sort of crime is happening? It's scary.
Yeah, I mean, it's... So the act of rape is... Look, I think there are enough people in the world, not just India, who are psychotic, to put it in the best way possible. There are people who are mentally ill. And when I say mentally ill, you would assume someone who is in a mental hospital somewhere. But no, people in society, there are degrees. Like even friends around me, you know, people have problems. Like whether it's disorders like ADHD, depression, whatever it is. I think most people in our current world have mental issues. Some are more extreme than the other, and rape is one of the forms in which those mental disorders manifest themselves. Right?
See, mental disorders, but I would also say rape is a show of strength by a patriarchy also.
Okay.
You know, male mindset, because acid attacks you must have heard of.
Yeah.
Acid attacks have increased a lot.
Yeah.
Why it happens? Because the girl has said no to a boy.
Yeah.
And that boy or that man thinks how she has said no to me.
Yeah.
He'll say, isko apni beauty pe bahut naaz hai. She thinks she's very beautiful.
Yeah.
मैं इसका चेहरा ही खत्म कर दूंगा.
Yeah.
So acid attack happens Because you have had the courage to say no to a stalker, no to a person who's besotted with you.
Well, again, that is a manifestation of a psychotic person.
Not only psychotic, even normal minds. I have seen cases where, this was this case where a woman won election, a village level. So the party who lost, they said कि अच्छा इसको मैं सबक सिखाता हूँ. They went and raped her daughter. So that I would not call that
but how
psychotic
would you
mind.
call that a normal mind? Like if someone who's gone
they are Manu Sharma, he killed Jessica Lal, and you will say कि no, it was not a normal mind. See, in fact, people use this defense in the court to say I was under depression, so I did it. I was schizophrenic. You get a medical certificate like that. They would use it there. But a person who does a crime, like unless and until you are totally under the influence of drug, you're a drug addict, you don't know what you're doing. But a man knows when he's committing a crime. A man knows.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, people know they're committing. I'm sure there's cases where they don't even think that rape is wrong. Like, let's say marital rape, they feel like if she's my wife, this is my right to have sex with her whenever I want. To them, that's sex. It's not even rape. But what I'm trying to say is that even when they know they're committing a crime, it's just that, am I okay with doing this crime? Like, does this sit right with me? Because a lot of times, from what I've seen, they have no guilt after it's done.
They have no.
So it's just
they become so desensitized. Again, that strata which is so poor, which has not even had a proper shelter to live in. So if you see, most of the crimes these type of crimes are committed from those people.
That brings it back to what I said. They have nothing to lose.
Nothing to lose.
Nothing to lose.
It's your building watchman. It's your delivery boy. It's your supplier. They are. And but again, I feel that fear of law. There is something called theory of deterrence.
Of course.
आपको ये मालूम होना चाहिए कि आप पकड़े जाओगे, तो फिर ये human rights करके आपको छोड़ा नहीं जाएगा.
Yeah.
You will have to face the music. And again, it comes back to that thing, if there is 100% conviction, speedy conviction, कि अगर आज crime किया है तो within next 30 days, that's why you say fast track courts.
Yeah.
But then there are no judges, there are no vacancies. So today you've done a crime, you are going to be punished for it.
When people ask for, this is another thing that I've seen over, they ask for capital punishment. They ask for capital punishment for rape, and there is this post that's going around in Saudi Arabia, they hang you in this place, they do this. In North Korea, there's a firing squad, whatever. What I think, and you correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think that's the answer. You can have capital punishment, but what that does is, first of all, it won't even get there because it's going to take 10 to 15 years for it to get there. You don't give someone capital punishment unless there is clear evidence.
And if a death has happened in a rape, gruesome, it says rarest of the rare.
Yeah.
Rarest of the rare crime, only then.
No, so let's say even if it's just for rape. For
very few, but it will be very few and far. 10 years, 12 years. So it doesn't give an impact.
Assuming they make it like capital punishment, you get, even if you are found to have raped someone, whether they survive, whether they are alive, whether they die, we will still give you capital punishment. First of all, for that to get proven in court, it'll take a lot of time, and a lot of times it won't get proven because witnesses are scared, evidence is tampered with, there is political pressure, this and that, so that won't happen. And even if it does, doesn't this give the criminal in more incentive to make sure the person dies?
True.
So that there is no evidence.
This girl was killed. And in fact, when capital punishment was being demanded, the committee, one of the members there said, no, capital punishment would lead to killing of the victim.
Yeah. Can you move the mic this way?
When this, after Nirbhaya, that was the first time that capital punishment was prescribed for rape. And at that time, Justice Verma was there in that committee. And he said, no, if you give capital punishment, then it will end up killing the victim. So if you see in this case also, Kolkata rape case, the victim was killed. Nirbhaya also, they thought she had died, but she survived and she died later. But But I feel, I say capital punishment has to be there because there is so less conviction. So at least the message will go, phansi ho gayi. As you said, the rural areas, tier 2, tier 3.
Yeah.
So, phansi is conveyed till the last mass that, oh, if this is such a crime, because a lot of people will think rape is not a crime. But agar ye hoga ki is tarah ke rape ke liye phansi hoti hai, then the mother is going to tell her sons कि करना मत ऐसा कुछ गलत काम, फांसी हो जाएगी. It has to start from there.
But you think a mother telling her son not to do it will prevent it? Because I feel like someone who's going to do it...
But if you see in the Shakti Mills gang rape case, when the case was being worked out, so that when the juvenile for them, they went to the mother tried giving false evidence.
Yeah.
Even in the Pune hit and the drunken case, the mother gave her blood sample to replace it with her son's alcohol content. So you see, mother has a role.
Yeah.
Mother keeps protecting the child. Every mother knows which way her son is going. If a child is stealing in the beginning, and if the mother checks her, I'm sure the child would not steal.
Yeah.
If the child is a school dropout and having drugs, the mother checks him, things will be better. But there is so much of mother love that the mother will come and try to save the child by telling lies. So that is where you increase crime.
Yeah.
So ultimately, everything, you कहते हैं ना, बूंद बूंद से घड़ा भरता है.
So it's a very complex problem that has all these layers, and
it requires a gigantic effort. Family, institutions, politicians, I mean, students, youth. We also have to protect ourselves. We have to be very guarded.
Yeah.
That if you are going out in unknown place, tell your mom, tell someone that I am going here.
Yeah.
I was handling a matter where this young girl wanted to learn music, DJ or something. And the person who was teaching her, he took her pictures inappropriate. And he was already married and he had physical relations with this girl. So one day the parents came to me and they were very embarrassed. They said, what to do? He's blackmailing my daughter. And one day he put a picture of my daughter's, this part, bare part, minus the face. And that was the time my daughter told me that I'm being blackmailed. So that girl came to me. I said, why did you send these pictures? Or why did you let him take pictures like these? So, even your best friend, the guy you are dating, will turn around tomorrow and blackmail you if you have given such pictures or if you've let him photograph you inappropriately. So, I think the first safety for any girl child or a woman starts from her step. Don't do anything or don't take a step which may be suicidal for you, giving your picture. Cybercrime is something. So if you are letting a guy take your nude pictures, tomorrow he will blackmail you. So these things have to be taught at home.
How much you think like he's
how much he loves you, how much he does that. So I always tell, even if a husband says don't do it, tomorrow you may go for a divorce and he will blackmail you.
Also the added layer of are your chats actually encrypted? Is that being watched by someone else? Because you don't know. And it's so easy to hack into phones now.
Yeah. But I've seen it is your loved ones only or the family know who are doing it. Because another matter, I requested Delhi police because this girl was being blackmailed. It was her first cousin sitting somewhere abroad.
Yeah.
And who was blackmailing her with those pictures.
Yeah.
So, so ultimately, these things have to be taught from childhood. That be it a boy or be it a girl. Because this man had beaten up 3 of his wives and he'd got a 4th wife. So how women were marrying this delinquent? This rapist who has been arrested, he had 3 wives he beat up and he kept getting women to marry. Yeah. Is marriage such an important institution that you're ready to marry a rapist and a criminal without doing background check?
Yeah.
How do these people get away with? That is my question.
Yeah. There are so many questions. I don't know if we'll see answers. I just hope that...
At least I hope from these protests, the doctors get that law that in the hospital, if somebody beats them up, breaks their property, then it would be an FIR immediately. A central law is required. Maharashtra has it. Maharashtra got the Doctors Protection Act in 2010, but we don't have a pan-India law. So now only the health minister, when these residents, they met, the resident doctors met, then the health minister said, I'm going to consider. But my thing is, take a commitment from them now that you've come on the roads, take a commitment that this law will come. Because in Nirbhaya, such was the public pressure that the politicians sat in the parliament 2 days round the clock. And then they got the 2013 Act, which gave death penalty, talked of death penalty. In 2013, for the first time, stalking was made an IPC offence in India. Before that, if you chased a woman all the way, troubled her on the way, it was not an offence.
Yeah.
So in 2013 only stalking was made an offence, voyeurism was made an offence. So something did come out of that.
Stalking was the typical Bollywood move for the longest time. Like, if you're trying to get a girl, stalking was what was showed as the method to get the
In
girl.
fact, you remember when the parliament was debating, 1 or 2 MPs, I will not take their name, they said, अरे आप तो सारा रोमांस खत्म कर देंगे, हम तो साइकिल लेके लड़की के पीछे रिक्शा पे चला जाता था. So
That's the idea of romance for
people, but not realizing that so many girls out of fear dropped out of schools because the boy was chasing them every day. And then they were later collated that lot of acid attacks have taken place like this, lot of rapes have been committed by these stalkers only.
Yeah.
So nothing can be taken lightly.
From all of this, I can just, what I'm seeing is there is a very big cultural gap amongst like people within India only. Like, we obviously have us who are having this conversation right now, but like compare this to the conversations that are being had in like super conservative places in India. Like you said, MPs themselves, their idea of romance is stalking.
They said that in the parliament.
And I
domestic violence.
I don't necessarily think that comes from a place of that I want to be an evil man and bother this woman. Like, the kindness in me likes to think that they don't know, they're unaware. Like, the cultural difference is just so much that to them this is romance, but in reality,
it is a torture for that little girl who's scared, who doesn't want to tell because the mother will say, अरे तूने ही लिफ्ट दी होगी, or the relative will say कि नहीं तुम इस तरह के कपड़े पहन के जाती हो इसलिए पीछे आता है तुमको छेड़ता है. And it won't be a genuine girl who wants to study, who is serious towards her studies. So all these things, and that is why so many suicides happen, so many girls commit suicide. So yes, somehow we need to work on this. And let's hope that something comes out of this protest. If resident doctors have come out, we will get safe working places. Just one law doesn't make a difference. It has to be a movement. And people need to talk about it. Domestic violence, nobody talks of. I have had people coming to me, women telling me that we were just arguing. And maybe I was winning the argument. And my husband gave me 2 raps. Because the husband could not think that my wife is telling me that I'm wrong. So, and then she kept quiet. She laughed it off. But no, please don't laugh it off. How can a man beat you? But that is considered in most of the houses.
How can anyone beat anyone in any argument?
And
a man doing it, woman doing it. It's just
a husband.
Like
I would say a husband. How can a husband hit you? Because you have replied back, or your argument has more conviction than his.
But that's again like, when you say that, I pictured that same scenario with the man and his father at some point where he was arguing with his dad, and as soon as he made a point, he was slapped. And that is normal to him. That's how he's been brought up. And he thinks it's okay.
Yes, You remember that picture in which Abhishek Bachchan and Rani Mukherjee were there, and he beats his wife. Somebody says, he says, "Hamari biwi hai, hum kuch bhi kare."
Kabhi alvida na kehna, I think.
I don't remember, but
I think
no. But I just remember this कि हमारी घरवाली है, हम कुछ भी करें. अरे घरवाली है तो वो इंसान भी तो है. So even Bollywood gives this type of stereotype. Remember, we grew up seeing some villains who were only committing rape.
Yeah. The impact of Bollywood. So I love films. I love watching films, and every time there is a film that is slightly questionable, like a film like Animal comes out.
I have not seen Animal because I was so outraged from the reviews that I didn't see.
Right. So now this was my argument before, that it's a film. And a film is, as a director or as a filmmaker, you're allowed to have flawed characters in your films. If there is a man who beats his wife, it's okay to show a man who beats his wife if that is the story, right? But now what I've realized, in a country like India where people worship these stars or actors and they try to copy it and mimic it, that's where it gets problematic. Otherwise, Hollywood also makes movies where there are abusive men. If you're trying to make a villain, if you're trying to make a nasty villain, he's going to be abusive, he's going to hit women, he's going to say questionable things. But the difference is here, they see that and they find it cool and they cheer it.
They cheer it and they start copying it. See, I say if you're making a script like that, abusive husband, but somewhere it should be that it don't justify it. At least it should be there that the script is this, but we condemn it. You know, like you say, smoking is injurious to health.
Yeah.
Because the moment if a star is beating his wife, they'll say, "Arey, ye to happening hai." You know, I think that was the reason when I got that FIR registered in AIB roast. People thought it was a very regressive thing. But I said, no, you can't treat women as a commodity and talk such vulgar things about her in public. Tomorrow I'll be walking on the road and somebody will be speaking that language only what these stars were speaking.
Do you think this is specific to a country like India or worldwide? Because I consume a lot of content from outside, and the roast is something that's been happening forever in the West, and it's always taken in good spirit. No one's ever gotten offended over any of the jokes. Like the biggest stars, recently they put out the roast of Tom Brady. Tom Brady is like one of the greatest athletes of all time. If you want context, like the Virat Kohli of USA, and they did a roast where they said the nastiest things. I think his wife had cheated on him and they had gotten divorced. All the jokes were about his wife, and they went into very great detail, and he was there laughing at it. And it was like, as a fan of comedy and for someone who can take jokes as jokes, it was very entertaining. But I don't see the same thing happening in India because people are just so... I think it's one of our greatest strengths that we are so sensitive. And we are very...
Our self-esteem, emotional. So many children, young children who've committed suicide, when you read their things, the school mein they were bullied and things were said to them.
Yeah.
You know, so that sensitivity. And plus I feel here, women as it is are a very downtrodden, marginalized community. On top of that, if you come with such statements, it will push them even backward.
Yeah.
You know, it will push them even in a worse space. That if you start showing that the husband slapping the wife is the done thing.
Yeah.
So women who are being slapped, who are at least now opening up and coming and speaking that domestic violence we are facing, then they would say, no, ye to hamari takdeer hai, this is my destiny. So that is where you have to draw a line.
I mean, I think it's our greatest strength and also our greatest weakness at the same time.
See, that way you say, for religion, you say something, one line about somebody's religion, communal riots are happening.
Yeah.
Yesterday only, I think Jodhpur, Udaipur, there were communal riots and all, you know, public property was burnt. So I think you have to, you know, that is why laws are there that don't say words which will create mischief or create religious strife. Yeah. So you have to draw a line somewhere. If you're living in a community, and that too Bollywood and cricketers, they are more accountable, because if for wearing one watch you're getting, for endorsing a watch, you're getting 5 crores. Why? Because the public is crazy after you and the sales of that watch will go. So you better learn to respect women also, because then at least they'll follow you and they'll respect women. They will not beat those women up.
Yeah.
You know, so that is true. The accountability is there, because if you're earning money out of your brand, then you use that brand for a good purpose also.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to be the person who tells people how to do the thing they do, but I think after a certain amount of fame, or I mean, if I'm speaking from personal experience, I wouldn't call myself famous, but I know I know exactly these number of people are watching me on a weekly basis, and there is some sort of responsibility that comes with it, and you feel that after a certain point. Like, a lot of people do feel it.
Yeah, when people look up to you, then you must
and you will see
be worthy of that also.
You will see it with actors abroad. They're mostly the activist kind. A lot of times what they do is just like, they want to make a difference. They don't know how to do it, so they will just do whatever the narrative is. They don't know. They think they're doing the kind thing.
The integrity levels are higher. We as Indians lack, I will not say we all, but majority lack integrity. See, there, if they've done something, they come and accept it, they acknowledge it. Here you will be told, apna gunah kabool mat karna. You know? Plea bargaining hota hai.
There's too much to lose. Like, I call actors spineless all the time. But they are, and I think there is nothing to be done about it, because if you're going to come out and take a stand, let's say, against the government, you're not happy with something.
आप क्या income tax rate हो जाएगी, आप क्या ED आ जाएगी,
movies बंद हो जाएंगे, सब बंद, like, is
true.
Then
You
is
pay
it
a big price for that, so you keep your mouth shut. That's what I said. These institutions, again, I come back. I'll end it with Sarkar and Sarkari Tantra, politicians and these government institutions.
Yeah.
That is the root cause. If that is streamlined, if that is accountable, the government institutions work without political interference. I'll make it even shorter. If your institutions, agencies work without interference, if they are fair, they do their duty properly, India would be a better place to live.
Yeah. I know through this conversation, we haven't given people much hope, but I want to say that I am still hopeful that India as a country, whether it's in our lifetime or maybe a while after we are gone, I think India will become, all of this with time, it will get better. And as a people, I think Indians are very kind. Like like I've lived here for 20 years. I came
Mumbai is not India. You are lucky, I am lucky, we are
segments.
staying in the best city of India. This is the best city, I can say. As I said in the beginning, I come from, north, and where women, that work ethics, women are never equal. But here, where if you see, I mean, if you're professional, you get the same recognition. Let's talk of any other city.
Yeah.
No, but this city is so safe.
But those cities also, they're maybe behind, because when I go to a city and the people maybe aren't as welcoming, I think about it and it's a reflection of their circumstances, where they're in a place where they're like, the world hasn't given us much. So they're always in this state of angst, and it reflects in their behavior with other people.
See, that is where I differ. I say circumstances should not suit you. You change yourself to the circumstances. Try to make a difference. Try to make a difference, because half the people are only blaming the system. But I say, what have you done? Have you done anything for the system? You have taken away the benefits. Today, if there are so many migrants coming to Mumbai, because their leaders have not set up that kind of job, that kind of factories in their states. That's why they're living here in slums.
No,
They've left their good houses
better life.
For a job.
Yeah.
So why are you not creating jobs?
Yeah.
So ultimately, why is Mumbai, Mumbai, if we don't check this growth of people coming here and this slums, trees being cut, towers being made, I'm sure in next 100 years, Mumbai is not going to be the Mumbai which you and I have lived. Yeah. And I think we owe something to our children also, that the next generation, in fact, the children who are in their teens, early teens, by the time they are old, this place is going to be, first time Mumbai had the AQI issues, you had pollution, December was a bad time. So we always say, oh, Delhi has that problem, not us. But in another 50 years, Mumbai is going to have a tough time.
Yeah.
So I think it's time we start working towards a change and we make ourselves accountable.
Yeah, I mean, I always say that the government is in place for a certain reason, but the
government cannot do, then we have to come in.
Yeah, like government isn't mummy daddy who's going to take care of everything.
वो government भी तो देखती है ना कि
I obviously understand some people are just born in circumstances that it's very difficult for you to get out of it yourself, and you need help from the government or from the authorities. Like some people are just born into such poverty that it's not the kind that you'll say, oh, you should try your best to get out of it. They could try their best and they'll never get out of it because the state is just that bad. And now you're talking about employment. Again, that's... Education is not there. And
but वो education school में पढ़ने जाते हो, Pratham comes out with all the ratings कि they are in class 7, 8, but वो 2+2 भी नहीं बता पाते. So that means that education itself in the rural areas is faulty.
And somehow if you manage to get a decent education, there are no jobs. So like, what do you do?
So then crime will happen. Crime will increase.
Exactly.
Then theft, you said, theft has been there. It is today and it will be there.
Yeah.
So मैं चोरी करूँगी.
हाँ. Yeah. So, and crime is directly correlated to the state of poverty in any place, not just India.
No, everywhere. Crime is happening in Canada. There was a advisory there that if carjackers are coming, please give the keys to them if you want to survive. Yeah. So if Canada is having that problem.
Yeah, UK has knife crime. America has gun crime.
UK has become worse. I was recently there and everybody said, please don't wear an expensive watch or an expensive mobile. People are stealing.
Yeah.
Just taking it away from you. Paris has it. Yeah. So yes, but end of the day, we have to make people safe. Let us hope that India and world over, safety, because ultimately food and safety, roti, kapda or makan.
Yeah.
It boils down to that only.
Yeah. And before we end this, I just want to say all of this comes from a place of wanting better, wanting to make the country a better place overall. And when we talk about politicians or the government, I have nothing against anyone specifically.
Even I don't have. I'm apolitical.
I'm sure you don't either.
I'm also apolitical. I don't work for any party.
No, whatever it is, like we just want better. So whether it's you doing it or the other party doing it or all of you come together or none of you do it, we want better outcomes. And
we want to make our girls safe. We want everybody to get education. Yeah. See, ultimately that is what everybody wants. But although one good thing I would say is, earlier India did not have adequate food. At least now we have surplus food. Our government godowns are overflowing with food. And that is why the government is giving 5 kg, 10 kg per month free ration. Yeah. So at least in that area we have improved. Hunger is not there. People have food.
In a lot of areas we have improved. But, and I've seen it in real time. Like the India I came to in 2004, I would cry every day. As a 6-year-old, I would just go out and come back home, go to school, come back home and cry and tell my parents, what are we doing here? Because India in 2004 wasn't what it is now. But I've seen the growth in real time. And the place has
20 years and...
So if in 20 years we've gotten this far, I'm hopeful in another 20 years or 40 years we'll be at a much better place.
Definitely.
But for now, all of this is happening and we have to speak. And that's how things get better, by us talking.
See, that's why I said, right to dissent is our right. Yeah. Right to speak is our right. You have to. Public apathy cannot be tolerated. Yeah. We all have a role to perform. And I'm glad that we came together at least to speak on this important issue. And I'm also very optimist. Yeah. But sometimes I do feel bad when such things, because for me as a lawyer, and that too human rights and a family law, every day I hear very disheartening stories when people come to me, and then you feel, oh my God, where are we heading to? What is the end result?
It's a lot to take as human beings. Like you hear information like that and you're not equipped with dealing with that. Like you don't know how to react, what to think.
I get so many calls. आप आभा जी बोल रही हैं, हमारे साथ ये प्रॉब्लम है, मेरा हस्बैंड छोड़ के चला गया, मेरा कज़न ब्रदर मुझे सेक्सुअली अब्यूज़ करता है. अब मैं कहती एक आभा तो पूरे इंडिया में नहीं जा सकती. So we require more people activist type of lawyers, people. So we need more activists also, and people who are not scared, people who are ready. So like, I'll end it with this line, which was the motto of my college: we receive to give. And that is what I have made my life on. I have taught my children that we receive to give. Yeah. So if the haves have so much that they can share, world will be a better place to live.
Yeah. Abha ma'am, thank you so much for the work that you do, and thank you for doing this. It was a pleasure, and I hope to talk to you again whenever. I hope it's not in a circumstance like this and we can just sit down and have more conversations about different things. But I would love to have you back on whenever you feel like. And thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. And yours is a very youth-based channel. And I hope that all the youngsters who are going to hear this, they will benefit and they would save some trees in Mumbai, stop some potholes from happening, check some corruption. Those are the things which youth can do. You all, so that is, I'm really hopeful. And
so am I.
We will make Mumbai a better place and the best, I would say.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.